So, Carly, we're kind of in the middle of election season coming up for the next few months, primary season right now. Are you ready for all this election madness that's coming our way?
I'm ready, Johnny. I've signed up for ballot tracks. I made sure my voter registration is correct and everything is set to go. And I'm tracking that ballot and making sure that we get our voices heard.
All the T's crossed, the I's dotted. All right. I did make sure that I have my ballot. It was in the mail yesterday. To be honest, I don't really check my mail that much.
I don't either.
But I got the notification that it was sent out. So I do have my ballot for the primary, and then we'll have the election obviously in November as well. But I'm in Arapahoe County. What we're talking about today is Jefferson County.
Yeah. And I really want to say we got a behind the scenes tour, but it's really not behind the scenes because anybody can come and take this tour, sign up to do it just like we did.
The same exact tour as we took. And, what was your takeaway from the tour?
What I took away is really just the lengths that they go to make sure everything is secure. Of course, you have to sign up. When you get in there to the elections division building, you have to check in. You get a badge. You get escorted through. All the cameras all the hallways are videotaped and everything is just recorded and secure. And of course, locked up. Only you can get in if you have a badge or you're an election worker. So there's definitely a lot of precautions that are taken to make sure that only those who are supposed to access the areas can.
Yeah. And I think my biggest takeaway was that the people that take the tour seem so much more reassured after they've taken the tour and the integrity of how they do elections here in Jefferson County. Plus, Hal is really cool.
Totally.
We'll get into more about Hal, but it's the ballot sorting machine that is super fast and
it's so fast.
Very cool. Yeah. Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. So it's the machines that are taking over. No, but I do love how, and we talked to Sarah McAfee from the clerk and recorder's office just about how they are transparent, how they want to be as transparent and show the integrity of the election in Jefferson County as much as possible, and how they're kind of a model for not only statewide, but nationwide.
And it was cool while we were on the tour, one stop on the tour out by the ballot box, someone drove up and actually turned in their ballot to the ballot box. And so we all cheered for them. That was a cool moment.
Thank you for voting.
Whoever that was, if you saw us, say hi in the comments. And, we appreciate you voting early. So, and you should as well, because you'll get off those, texts and calls.
Yeah, I didn't know that was that's a good incentive.
Yeah, so get your ballots in, and why don't we get started? Here's our conversation with Sarah McAfee.
Welcome into the Engage Jeffco podcast. Our guest today is Sarah McAfee, the Chief Communications and Engagement Officer with the Jefferson County Clerk and Recorder's Office. I know it's a busy time, so thank you so much for sitting down with us.
We love election time. Really excited to be here. Thanks for giving us the chance to talk about something we're really passionate about.
We just took a tour, an election tour that anybody in the public can take. Jefferson County voters, you can come in and schedule a time and take the same tour that we just did, right?
That's right. Open to the public. We'll show you around behind the scenes. You'll get to see everything we do to process your ballot and keep your election safe.
Before we hit record, I asked how many times you've given a tour. Can you let our listeners know?
Yeah, I think we're bumping up against 100 probably at this time. So a lot of tours, and that's probably between 500 and 1,000 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. The tours are so interesting. This was my third tour, and it's still fascinating to see everything behind the scenes.
The same dumb jokes every time.
No.
Come for the election, stay for the comedy.
Fair enough. Is there ever a theme among the people that come and take your tours? Is there questions that most people like to ask?
I mean, a lot of folks are coming through because elections can feel opaque. You send me a ballot and I fill it out, and then some things happen that I'm not sure what happened. And then you tell me what happened as a result. And so what are those things that are happening? How are you making sure that our elections are secure? How are you verifying my signature? How are you counting my ballot? What does that look like? And so we do get people come with curiosity. They come with great questions, and they just want to know what we're doing. And then it's really gratifying at the end for them to feel like, wow, I learned so many great new things today. And I'm going to go share that with my community.
And I think a lot of that, comes from a place of transparency, from the clerk and recorder's office. See how secure it is, see what happens to your ballot, and get those questions answered. And I feel like they feel confident in the whole process now that they see how much work goes into it.
Yep. Yeah, Clerk Amanda Gonzalez has made very clear that transparency is super important. It's something that is the foundation of trust. And so we have, put that into everything that we do, trying to make sure that we're as transparent as possible. Please come ask us your questions. It's okay to be skeptical. It's okay to have real questions about what's going on. We'll show you everything. We'll talk it through. We'll answer those questions for you so that you can feel really confident in your ballot being counted accurately.
You do have a pretty incredible system. You're a well-oiled machine, I remarked earlier. Is this clerk and recorder's office a model nationally, statewide?
I can tell you that when Clerk Gonzalez travels around the country to speak at election conferences, she is mobbed by other states because they all want to know, how did you do this in Colorado? Colorado's system really is very special. We've put a lot of work into making it incredibly resilient and secure and accessible so that sort of, whatever comes our way, you're still going to get your ballot. You're still going to be able to vote. And it would be really hard for anyone to actually interfere with any of the great work that's going on.
And on top of that, Jefferson County is one of the most.
That's right. So in 2023 and 2025, we had more ballots returned than every other county in the state. And we are not the largest county. So that is a feat. I think El Paso County is the largest, and they've got a pretty large percentage more voters than we do. And we still ended up with more ballots returned than them, and Denver and Arapahoe, the other counties that are larger. So we feel really proud about that. And we always do. We just have good turnout generally in every election.
I had a bunch of questions on the tour, and I saved them all up for this moment right now. And you were talking about maybe some of the precautions that you guys have to take. Mm-hmm. Given current climates and conversations, the bomb squad has come out, hazmat has scanned the ballot boxes. Tell me a little bit about just the ballot box itself and how secure they are.
Yeah, sure. Those ballot boxes are super secure. They are made out of very heavy steel. They are bolted into the ground. They're not going anywhere unless a snowplow backs over them.
Oh, no.
Hint, hint, facilities management, we love you. They're very secure. They're under 24/7 surveillance. So we are monitoring at all times, and we're having ballot pickups regularly. So we do take them super seriously. You referenced that we had the bomb squad come out. That was preventive, right? It's not because there was anything in those. It's because we wanted to make sure that our bomb squad knew what our election processes looked like, and that we understood what their processes looked like, so that if there were a scenario where something like that happened, we would be really prepared to work together smartly. We did the same thing with the hazmat team to make sure that we would understand how to handle all of that. Yeah.
And you said they took an x-ray of the box so they know kind of like what it looks like normally. Mm-hmm. And if anything changes with that scan, maybe something is up.
That's right. And so they could x-ray it without having to open it, which protects everyone involved.
Right.
So,
and most importantly, the votes and the ballots
right, and the
inside.
Ballots inside. Exactly. Yeah. And hopefully we never have to use that training, but we are preparing for anything and everything just to make sure that we would know what to do in any scenario.
And we got some video of the whole process, and those people inside working, especially those that open the ballot box, as you said, it can get confrontational if there's a certain, a deadline isn't met or something. And so I'm sure the workers behind the scenes do get some training as well of maybe de-escalation tactics.
Absolutely.
Or anything.
Yep. Yeah. All of our election workers are trained in de-escalation. It's not often there are confrontations at a ballot box, but it can happen mostly because voters are running a few minutes late and they really want to make their voice heard. And we understand and we appreciate that passion, but you do have to get your ballot in by 7 p.m. There is no grace period. And so if you show up late, they will not be able to accept your ballot for counting.
At 7:01, you're too late.
That's right. It's too late. Yeah.
Okay.
You talked a lot about the different colors of the ballots that are going out right now for the primary. I did not know what they meant and never really dawned on me to think about what that meant. But can you kind of explain what some of the different colors mean?
Yeah, so we're talking about the return envelopes and the colors for those. The one that most voters are used to seeing is orange. That is our standard envelope. And in the general election, almost everyone will see orange. But we do have some other colors, and that helps us with sorting and security. So the other color that's really common in a primary election is purple, and that is for our unaffiliated voters. And the reason that unaffiliated voters are getting purple or a different color than the affiliated voters is because they're getting 2 ballots in that envelope, but you're only allowed to return 1. So when those purple envelopes come back in, we need to make sure that there's only 1 ballot in there. We have some other colors. We use black for our military and overseas voters. We use teal for replacement ballots. If something happens and you need to get a new ballot, you can do that. Go to any of our vote centers. We'll issue you a new one. It'll have a teal color envelope. And then we have a tan color that we use for some special case scenarios that don't actually apply in this election, but may in November.
One of the high level things I took away from the tour was pretty much everything is done in bipartisan groups. Can you kind of go through what the groups are, what they do, and why you have it set up that way?
Yeah. A fundamental part of our process is no one is ever alone with a ballot, always bipartisan teams. And by bipartisan teams, we mean 2 people from different political parties. It doesn't have to be Republican Democrat. It could be Republican and unaffiliated. It could be Democrat and Libertarian. Any combination of 2 different political parties is bipartisan. Then we have many different jobs that our election workers do. For this election, we're hiring between 300 and 350 different election workers, and they all have different roles. Some of those roles are going out to ballot boxes to pick up ballots. Some of those are working in our processing center, receiving the ballots when they come in, helping sort them and getting them ready for counting. We have signature verification judges. We have judges that are working in our tabulation room that are feeding the ballots through the counting machines. We also have those that sit in our call center and take your calls and answer your emails to make sure that you have all your questions answered. Yeah. And that also our vote centers, right? We have a whole team that goes out and is staffing those vote centers for in-person voting too.
What I found also really fascinating is the amount that is recorded and saved, not just video cameras in the hallway and archiving that footage, but also you save the envelope that your ballot came in, even though that's not really important anymore because what counts is the votes, but you still save the envelopes up on the shelves and even keeping a record of which ballot box is the most popular. You said Columbine Library, which is my library.
There you go.
What's the importance of storing that kind of information?
Yeah. Well, because that way, if there's ever any question, we can go back and look at it, right? Your envelope has your signature on it. And so we're keeping all of those because if there's ever a question about, why did we accept this ballot for counting? Well, we can pull that envelope out and we can look at that signature and say, well, yeah, because it was a match, right? So we keep all of those records just in case we have to refer back to them. And we do keep them for 25 months along with all of our election records.
You do audits pretty regularly. Do you always aim to try to improve the process as much as possible?
We're constantly improving. Yep. Constantly little tweaks here and there. What would make this more efficient? What would help us save some taxpayer dollars? What would help us make this more secure? We're constantly asking ourselves those questions. We're also looking at where in the process are there bottlenecks that we can ease so that we can keep things moving faster. Jeffco takes a lot of pride in being the fastest big county to finish counting ballots. And we do that because we put so much intention into all of that. In 2024, we were able to return $2 million to the general fund through our efficiency savings and modernization that Clerk Gonzalez spearheaded to make sure that, we were being as fiscally careful as possible. Yeah, to take care of everyone's taxpayer dollars as we run these elections.
And I think also a big part of the speed and the efficiency was the sorter machine, and it was really loud in there. And so, I know I got video of it and as you were talking in there, but can you explain what that machine does in this quiet environment here?
Yes. We have a giant sorter machine. We call it HAL, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Okay. HAL. Our former sorter was Meg, as in Megatron. So they all get good names. We've had this for a handful of years now, and it's the only one of its type in the state. It is the fastest and the highest tech in the state, and it's a big reason that Jeffco is able to count as fast as it is. So this giant machine can process 50,000 ballot envelopes per hour. which is a lot.
Yeah.
And when it is running at full speed, it is quite the sight to see. And you will get to see that if you come on the tour. It's the first time that your envelope passes through this machine. It is taking a picture of the signature that is on the back of your ballot. And then it is scanning the barcode and it is pulling up your most recent signature on file. And it's comparing those two things. It's very similar to software that banks use to look at signatures. It's going to look at 11 different points in your signature. And if it's really confident that that is a match on that signature, then it's going to accept your ballot for counting. And so if you're signed up for ballot tracks, that's the point where you'll get that message that says your ballot has been accepted. So we're auditing the work of that machine. We're auditing the work of all our signature verification staff. We're auditing the entire election. We do audits all day long throughout the election and then after the election to make sure that there's no mistakes along the way.
Can you kind of just give us a high-level overview of the process that goes to the machine and then potentially cured or to verify signatures?
Yeah.
Why is it important to keep the ballot and the envelope separate?
Yeah. The ballot represents your vote. There's nothing on that ballot that says who you are. It doesn't identify you, which makes your vote anonymous, and that's really important. But the envelope does identify you, which is equally important in a different way. That's how we confirm that you are an eligible voter who's able to vote. And so when your ballot is inside the envelope, your vote is anonymous, and we have to handle it in a way that keeps that vote anonymous. So when you vote, if you vote by mail or if you drop at a drop box, which between 95 and 99% of Coloradans do, those ballots are going to go through that machine. That's sort of their first stop, our big sorter machine, to look at your signature and verify who you are. And if it's not able to verify who you are because your signature doesn't quite match, then it's going to go to our manual signature verification teams, which are the humans that are trained to do this. They're going to look at that too. Once we know which ballots are verified, then they get to move on in the process. If your ballot got pulled out at that point, then it's sent to what's called ballot curing, and a different team's going to reach out to you to make sure that you are the one that turned in your ballot. But all the ballots that we open are then going to be counted. And so they'll go to the next team, which is going to remove the ballots from the envelope, and they're going to check for damage and other things. We love when you vote in blue and black pen, and not as much when you vote in yellow highlighter. And we're really happy that you had a delicious breakfast, but please don't let us know what it was by leaving remnants all over your ballot. So if we see those ballots that come through with damage in that way, or ink that we know isn't going to run through, we are still going to count those votes, but we're going to pull those ballots to the side and we're going to replicate those. And then once all the ballots are out of the envelopes and ready, the last step is to go into our tabulation room where they'll be run through the counting machines and counted.
The only maybe possible exception to this would be overseas and military ballots, because the way that they send them in is a little bit different than voting in Colorado.
Yeah, so military and overseas voters have a few different ways that they can vote. They can send their envelope back, which is great. And then it just goes in the mix with everything else. But they can also vote by email or by fax. They have some other options. And so when we get ballots in that way, then those ballots go to the same replication team that is working on the yellow highlighter and the jam ballots. And they're going to replicate those onto clean ballots so that they get put right into the mix and then counted just like everyone else's. But there is that extra handling step ahead of time.
There's an interesting question in the group during the tour, and they asked, who can be an election judge? And so, of course, you can come take the tour and see the process for yourself and just learn about it. You can also participate in the process.
That's right.
And there was a young student in there, and there was... we did get Marilyn on camera.
And in fact, my dear friend Marilyn here.
Hi, guys. Welcome.
We saw her, and she has been doing it for a long time.
Very long time, yes. Marilyn is in her 90s. I have permission to tell people that. Otherwise, I would never reveal a lady's age.
Of course.
Yes, so she's been there for many, many elections. And then we also have folks that are brand new that might still be in high school. So just about anyone can be an election judge. You do have to be, it's the same qualifications for voting, right? You have to be a Coloradan. You have to be registered to vote. You have to be a citizen, those sorts of qualifications will let you do it. But you don't even have to do it for your own county. So if you wanted to go be an election worker in a different county, you could do that too.
Oh.
And our high school students, our juniors and seniors, are all eligible to come in as student election workers. They come in on just election day. And then once you're over 18, then you qualify for every job we have.
Oh, fantastic. And they even asked, there is a background check and some training that happens.
Yep.
But you're allowed to have a felony and still do that job. They were very curious about that question. But I guess that part doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, we follow, the same rules that we do for many other things, right?
Sure.
If you have a criminal background that is related to the job that you're looking to do, that probably isn't going to happen. But, other than that, like once you have sort of made restitution and you have, served time if you needed to or whatever, then we welcome you back into society and we really appreciate that you would want to participate.
Philosophically, why do you find that these tours are important to make the opaque process of voting much more transparent?
Yeah. Transparency is what we're all about here. And this is a really key part of that. The way that I know that it's working is on our social pages, we get lots of comments from folks that have big feelings about elections. Some of those very legitimate and some of those maybe a little more questionable. But regardless of what they're posting, you can regularly find folks that will reply and say, oh, that's not true. I took the tour. And so I know it's working when we have community members that are getting good information that they can then share with the rest of the community about what this looks like. I don't know that I could get all 600,000 Jeffco residents through a tour in 1 year. I mean, maybe over many years we could make that happen. But having folks come through and take these tours and have good information that then they can share with their neighbors helps us all trust our elections more. And it has been shown that you are more likely to vote when you trust your election system. And so that's really what we're building towards is trust in our government, trust in our election system. And we do that by letting folks ask their questions and see behind the scenes and really understand deeply everything that we're doing.
It's one thing to tell people that you're transparent, it's another to show them and let them be that word of mouth.
Yeah.
And we might not be able to get all 600,000 residents on a tour, but everyone can listen to this podcast. So thanks for doing that because you're already here.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll give you like a little brief insight to the tour, but you should take it. I think both of us have taken it multiple times.
It's not the same on the camera.
No, it's
you
very
gotta
cool.
go in yourself.
The big machine, Hal, is amazing.
Hal
so
is the
cool.
highlight. Everyone likes Hal. Yes.
It's so cool.
Hal and Marilyn.
And Hal and Marilyn. That's right.
Oh.
Well, Sarah, thank you for joining us today. I know it's quite a busy time for you right now. I don't know if there's ever not a busy time for you, but thank you for kind of explaining this to our listeners and demonstrating that transparency and that we can actually we can trust our voting system in Jefferson County.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I hope everyone gets their ballots in. We would love to have the highest turnout in the state again. We can't do that without everyone's help. And I would love for the ballots to get in early. Early voting, it takes you off of campaign text and call lists, which maybe you're really loving those conversations with candidates as they text you at all hours of the day. But if not, the sooner you vote, the sooner you're off your list. You'll also help us save taxpayer dollars, and you will get more complete results sooner. So please return your ballots and see you at the polls.
Return them for this primary, June 30th, no later than 7 p.m., 7:01. You will not get counted.
That's right.
So June 30th, at least for this primary. But of course, there's another general election coming up in November.
That's right. November 3rd. Yes, we'll be back.
The clerk and recorder's office never sleeps.
Not until after 4 a.m.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, they got to be rested.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again. Yeah. What a really fun and informative episode.
Yeah.
During a busy election time.
Yeah. Thanks to Sarah for coming in and talking to us in our studio and also giving us the tour. And if you want to take the tour, they're open to the public.
They're open to the public. You saw the group that was with us, that they were just there trying to experience it as well. And we said, hey, we're recording, and they were part of our podcast. Anybody can take the tour. It's open to the public. We have a link to that tour in the show notes right now.
Yeah. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and give us a subscribe and a 5-star rating so you'll be able to hear more episodes from us going forward.
Also on YouTube as well, especially for this episode because got special permission to videotape this tour, and you can see it for yourself as well on YouTube. Just subscribe to our channel and it'll be right there and you can watch us.
And if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that as well. We have this thing called SpeakPipe, and you go to our show notes and click the link, and you can leave us a recording, and we'll get back to you.
Tell us what you liked about that episode. Maybe give us an idea for the next one.
Yeah. And as always, take care of one another, Jeffco.